Now, the final thing we're going to look at is actually the first thing that needs to be done, and that is anything that's inside parentheses. Okay, so anything inside parentheses we need to do first. Okay, so any operation that which is inside of, and I think, parentheses. Okay, or what we might consider to be brackets, which I actually have inside of a set of brackets, needs to be done first. That's the first thing that we're going to do. So we're always going to watch for where there is brackets or parentheses, and we're going to do that first. Now I say parentheses because it kind of encompasses everything. Brackets is a bit of a smaller category. Parentheses encounters everything that might look like brackets. Once the operation is complete, the answer fills in for the parentheses, and these can be shown with like the regular round ones that we see, or maybe you might see square ones. Those we could use kind of either or throughout. Pairs of parentheses can be hidden inside another set. We always complete the innermost set of brackets first. So we always complete the innermost set of brackets first, and then we work outward. Okay, so we complete the inner set, then we keep working outward depending on the set of brackets. And we'll go through some examples of those in just a little bit as well. So let's solve this expression here. This expression here has multiplying and subtracting. Normally we would do the multiplying part first, but because the subtracting is in brackets, this is the one that we do first. Okay, 6 minus 3 is just 3, and it replaces that set of brackets. So then what we do is we take everything out of the brackets, okay, and then we have 4 times 3, and this gives us 12. Now, if we were to do this otherwise, okay, if we were just to do 4 times 6 minus 3, the way we normally would, we would get an answer of 21. But because this is in brackets, we need to do that part first. Okay, so it's important we do that part first, then we do the multiplying. So we do the subtracting first, then we do the multiplying, and that gives us an answer of 12. Now, another way that we can describe it or show it, okay, is if we put a number directly beside the parentheses, so something like this here. Okay, this is actually the exact same expression as we had up top, but now there's no multiplying here. So this little thing here, if we do a 4 beside the bracket, it represents multiplying. So we still do this part first, 3, and then we do 4 and we multiply it to 3, and this gives us 12. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing, except it's just written out a little differently, and we do this a lot more when we start dealing with polynomials and factoring and stuff like that, which we'll get into later on this year as well as next year. So we're not going to look at it right away. But this would be that's kind of another way to represent it, and you'll see some questions like that. Some I'll do the multiplication in between there. The next one here, we have 5 plus 3 times 6 divided by 2 plus 1. Now you'll notice we have multiple brackets here. In here we have an inner set of brackets and an outer set of brackets. So we have to make sure that we always do that inner set of brackets first. Okay, so we're adding first. So this is 3, and then this is 6 divided by 3, but this is still in brackets because we have not done that part yet. And this is 5 plus 3, and then we're multiplying them together. So the next step that we would do is we have the other set of brackets that we can finish. So we can finish this set of brackets. This is 8. And this set of brackets is 9. And then we can complete our answer, which is 72. 8 times 9 is 72. And so we, again, have to follow the order for brackets. Okay? Each set of brackets needs to be done by itself, but if it's inside, we have to do those first before we can start to move to the outside set of brackets or outside set of parentheses. Okay? A fraction, okay, is another way to write a division statement. And we've mentioned this in the past when looking at fractions. Each fraction can be solved by dividing the numerator by the denominator. The division operation will always be the last thing done in the expression. That means that we envision that the number, okay, that the numerator is one set of parentheses, and the denominator is the other set of parentheses. Okay, so we always do whatever's on top first, whatever's on bottom first, and then we do our division afterwards. So something like this here, 2 plus 3 divided by 5. We can think of it, now we don't need to write it this way, but we can think of it as there's a set of brackets there. So we add first, 2 plus 3, so this is first, is 5 over 5. Now once it's just numbers, we can divide. 5 divided by 5 is just 1. So our answer would just be 1. Okay, so whatever's on top, we have to do that part first. Let's do some practice with parentheses, or what we might consider to be brackets. So these questions tend to be a little bit longer as there might be more steps, or we could become more and more steps. When you get to your assignment, you'll definitely see that there's more and more steps. What we're going to do here is we're going to start with this question here. So we have a set of brackets, 9 plus 6, so we have to do that first. 9 plus 6 is 15. And then we pull the divide 3 down, still equals. Then we can do the division. So then we do division, 15 divided by 3 is just 5. So we start with the parentheses, and then we move to our division statement. Okay, again, different from what our normal senses would be, do division first, then add. But when the parentheses come in, or the brackets, we have to do that part first. The next one here, you'll notice we have the 1/2 is being multiplied. So remember, this is a multiply sign. To 4 plus 8. Well, we start with what's inside the brackets. So inside the brackets is 4 plus 8, which is 12, and we're going to multiply that by 1/2. So when we multiply by 1/2, let's change that. We have 1 times 12, which is 12, 2 times 1, which is 2, and we can simplify this to 6. Okay, so we do this part second, so we add first, then we multiply. It really does change the answer if we don't follow the correct order, and if we just do things from left to right. We have to make sure that we include those parentheses and do those first. All right, let's take a look at the next one here. Okay, the next one, we have 2 sets of brackets. We have this set here and this set here. Now, this set is already actually in common denominator, so I can solve this one. This is just 6 over 5 we're adding. This one here does not have a common denominator, so I'm going to change that to 2 over 6 minus 1 over 6, which is the same as 1 over 6. So this becomes 1 over 6. Okay, and the multiplying stays in between there. We could also put 2 sets of brackets side by side, and that means multiply as well, or you might see the multiplying sign there. You'll notice here, actually, the 2 sets of brackets are side by side, so that's multiplying. Once we multiply, we can actually simplify this. Those are both 1s because we divide both by 6. 1 times 1 is 1 because we're doing this next. And 5 times 1 is 5, so the answer here is just 1 over 5. Okay, if you want to do some side note stuff like I did here, instead of doing it right over here, you can definitely do that, and then bring in your final answer as to what it is. But please show all your work when you are solving these questions. Next one here, we have tons of brackets, but it's because all of the negatives I've done in brackets as well. So you'll notice here that each of these negatives, don't have to worry about those being done, but our first set of brackets or our only set of brackets is these right here, -4 minus 9, which is positive 5. Remember, this is adding the opposite, so it's -4 plus positive 9. So we're adding the opposite, so this is 5, and this right here, -2, is now multiplying to positive 5. This is our second step right here. Negative times a positive is a negative. 2 times 5 is 10, and so our answer is -10. Now again, you'll notice I often put them into brackets. You do not need to do that, but it just shows that it's kind of that negative is with there. It's not a subtraction sign, but it's with the number, so it represents the number. Next one here, we have 6 minus 4 over 3 plus 7. Remember that this is a set of brackets, and this is a set of brackets. So first we'll do this set of brackets. Okay, 6 minus 4 is just 2. And then we'll do this set of brackets. 3 plus 7 is just 10. We divide. 2 over 10 is 1 over 5. And that would be our answer. We could also write it as 0.2. That is the correct answer as well. But we can leave it as a fraction. If it's there as a fraction, we can leave it as a fraction. We don't have to simplify that to a decimal. You can if you want. If you recognize what it looks like, you can do that. But again, I would not allow calculators for the most part. Again, I'm going to try and make them simple enough so you don't need calculators. So a fraction is just fine to leave it like that. This last one here, again, we have a couple different sets. So we have this set of brackets. Oh, my brown is getting a little low here. And on top is a brackets, and there's brackets inside of brackets. So we're going to start with this one right here. 6 minus 5 is just 1. And so this is 5 times 1. And this here would be 5. So we would have 5 on top. Okay, and on the bottom we have 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is just 3. Okay, and so we have 5 over 3. Again, leave it exactly like this, or this will be 1.66 repeated. Okay, either of these is going to work. If you get a fraction like that, just leave it as a fraction. It's already, it's as simple as it's going to get, and it's as accurate as it's going to get as well. And so that's one of the things that we definitely look at is the accuracy there. The final one, we go back to fractions, and again, we can leave that as these fractions are always a good thing. We never have to worry about them. But here we have 1 over 3 plus 2 over 5, and remember that when there's two brackets side by side, we are multiplying. So the next thing we'd have is 2 over 3 minus 1 over 6, and so we're going to do this set of brackets, and we're going to do this set of brackets. Now it's our last question, so I've got a bit more room here. 1 over 3 and 2 over 5, we're going to make over 15, so this is going to be 5 over 15 plus 6 over 15, and this is 11 over 15. So this answer right here is 11 over 15. This one here, we have 2/3, or sorry, this, I should actually change that right away. I'm going to make it all over 6, so it's going to be 4 over 6 minus 1 over 6, which equals 3 over 6, which equals 1/2. So we are multiplying. I'm going to do a little multiply like that. Multiply 1/2. Okay, so we do one set of brackets first, we do the other set of brackets next. Order doesn't matter because we would get 1/2 here and we get 11 over 15. They're not associated with each other at all until we start multiplying. Now we can multiply. 11 times 1 is just 11. 15 times 2 is 30. And we can leave it exactly like that. That will be our final answer. Okay, leave it as a fraction, make sure it's simplified, and that will be your final answer. Now to finish off, we have questions 12 to 14. Okay, each one involves a number of steps. They involve parentheses, they involve exponents, fractions, and integers. Okay, so please work on these 3 questions. There are a number of A's, B's, and C's as well in there that you need to work on as well. Okay, remember the order. Okay, number 1, parentheses. Number 2, exponents. Number 3, divide and multiply. And number 4, add and subtract. There we go. Okay, that's the order that we look at. Parentheses first, then exponents, then divide and multiply, then add and subtract. We'll through that. Now, just as one little quick note, I should mention, if you see an exponent outside of a parentheses, that means you do the what's inside first, then you do the exponent to the answer that was inside.